If everyone could silence their cell phones, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We do not have any proclamations tonight, and I need to add one item to the consent agenda, and that is the proposed support for a resolution supporting the reinstatement of the North Carolina Historic Preservation Tax Credit Program. That proposed resolution is at your seat and would just state that we as a city support legislation that's been introduced to reinstate the historic tax credit. Does anyone have any item that they would like on the consent agenda to be pulled, considered separately, or have any questions about?
Yes, Mayor.
Okay, go ahead.
Item M, regarding the e-cigarettes. I was interested in hearing from the members of the Public Safety Committee about their deliberations around that and just learning more about kind of their process and how they came to this conclusion. I know that you all spend a lot more time on it than we've gotten to.
Do we want to, and I'm interested in K, but we can
K.
discuss it where you want.
All right, K and M. Any other item on the consent agenda that you would like to have considered separately or have a question about? Okay, why don't we do this? Why don't we adopt the consent agenda without item K and item M and then take care of those separately?
So moved.
And we have, okay, so we're going to do Gordon moved and Gwen seconded.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so no, we're good. So I've got a motion and a second for the approval of the consent agenda without item K, without item M, and with the addition of a resolution in support of the historic tax credit legislation. All those in, oh, wait, I'm sorry. If anyone wishing to comment on that motion, please do so now. Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any against? All right. So let's do item M or K for, do you want to do, I just was going in alphabetical order.
Doesn't matter.
Okay. So item K first, this is a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a donation of services agreement with the 26th North Carolina for the restoration of the Vance Monument and to accept the project upon satisfactory completion of the restoration. We have our fill-in city manager here today. Kathy Ball, welcome. Is there someone here that might be able to talk to us briefly about this item? I see Roderick jumping, no, not.
I think it's Debbie Ivester.
I see Debbie Ivester jumping in front of Roderick to talk to us about this item.
Okay. My reason for pulling it was to just to call attention to the 26th Regiment of reenactors, to North Carolina 26th Regiment, which I think Chris is here if he wants to come up too. I just really, Debbie, you might want to tell us how we got to this point and the great work they've done to do it, because we several years ago recognized that there was issues with the Vance Monument and the obelisk itself was deteriorating, and there was concern here on council of how to repair it, and there's a great group of people got together and worked really hard. So I think it's too significant to not get those folks up here and thank them for it and give them an opportunity to tell us what they're doing.
Okay, thank you, Mayor and Council. You know that the Vance Monument is part of the city's public art collection, and a few years ago we did a condition report on all of our artwork, and it clearly identified the monument as one of the top priorities and the kind of conditions it has with the mortar joints and cleaning and that kind of thing. And not long after that, the 26th North Carolina, along with Chris Roberts, adopted the Vance Monument to help us proceed to accomplish restoring the Vance Monument. And they entered into an agreement with us and has just really done an excellent job in the recent years to accomplish their $115,000 fundraising goal. The city is contributing $11,000 to that, but the credit really goes to Chris and his team of accomplishing that $115,000. And so now that we've arrived at that, Chris has done a lot of work to line up with Kessler Construction, who is a local construction firm here, and bringing in the restoration experts, that now we are ready to proceed with the agreement, and if everything stays on track, we'll be ready to start the work in April. You will see construction fence around the monument. There'll be a full scaffolding all the way to the full height of the monument. I think it's going to be something the community finds very interested in, and that it is the first time in the life of the monument that it's had this extensive amount of restoration. So we really are thankful to Chris and his efforts in the 26th North Carolina to help the city get where we are on the Vance Monument.
Chris, would you like to say a word about it? I know that y'all have worked really hard to get to this point.
Well, I would like to thank all of you for giving this opportunity. I'm a native of Weaverville, and anyone who grows up in Weaverville knows Zebulon Vance. You go there, your very first field trip in school is often to Vance's birthplace. And I've been essentially a big part of his life all my life. I've spent 12 years working as a tour guide at Zebulon Vance's birthplace. And now in my involvement in the 26th North Carolina, literally retracing some of his steps. At the same time, the Vance Monument has become the heart of the city of Asheville in many, many ways. And for many, many years, I've watched it degrade in some degree and wanted to have an opportunity to do something about that. And through my association with the 26th North Carolina and its really strong effort toward preservation, we were able to kind of push that along. So we're really looking forward to the opportunity not only to physically restore the monument, but also to restore its association with the city of Asheville and Western North Carolina, and the story all behind the lifespan of the monument itself in the city as well. So I'd like to thank all of you for giving that opportunity.
Well, we as a city appreciate very much what the 26th has done. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, Jan, did you have any?
Would move that we accept this as with gratitude.
Second. Oh, go ahead. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there anyone wishing to comment on the motion? This is item K on the consent agenda, to enter into a donation of services agreement with the 26th North Carolina for the restoration of the Vance Monument. All right, seeing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. All right, item M, ordinance amending Chapter 11 of the Code of Ordinance to regulate e-cigarettes to the same extent as traditional lighted cigarettes. I think, Gordon, you had a question about the deliberation at the Public Safety Committee, and if who on the Public Safety Committee would like to enlighten us? No pun intended.
I'll be glad to.
That was bad.
I think the concern expressed in what we heard from staff was that in our public facilities, we don't allow smoking, and that there's concerns that the health effects of e-cigarettes are unknown at this point, and so that to err on the side of caution was the reason we were thinking about considering prohibiting it on city facilities, and so that was thinking behind that.
And I would emphasize, too, that this is city facilities. These are parks, the same areas that we do not allow public smoking in is that, or do not allow smoking in, is that the parks, buses, the bus transit station, and the areas that are public that do not expose people to vapor just like we do smoke.
And I'd go a little further to say that we have had some emails from people concerned about this issue, and I did some fairly extensive research online, and it appears to me that the FDA is still waiting to make a determination, and their concern is that there are something like 250 different e-cigarette devices available, and there's no consistency with what's in them. And so they haven't got a real take on the safety. It seems that some of them, at least, don't cause the same kind of secondhand pollution that cigarettes are known to cause, but others may cause that. And until that's resolved, I wouldn't be comfortable permitting. I mean, it seems to me the same rules ought to apply until we know something different.
It's really helpful. Thanks, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Mayor, if I may, please, you all have a revised definition of what constitutes an e-cigarette, and I would thank Karen Collins from the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services. It's an expanded definition and is acceptable from a legal standard.
I'd move to approve the ordinance as in the revised definition that we have here with the more accurate description.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Is there anyone wishing to comment on the motion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we have taken care of the consent agenda. We have two public hearings. Both of them have been, there's a request to continue them. I need a motion. The first one is to continue the public hearing to consider conditional zoning for Graymont Village Apartments to May 12th, 2015. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Is there anyone wishing to comment on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the second is a public hearing to consider conditional zoning located off Shelburne Drive from RM8 Residential Multifamily Medium Density District and RS8 Residential Single Family High Density District to RS8 Residential Single Family High Density District conditional zoning for a 9-lot major subdivision. There is a request to continue that to March 24th, 2015. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Come on.
Second.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. Is there anyone wishing to comment on the motion? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, we're done with the public hearings. We have one item of unfinished business, and I will hand it over to the Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. This item regards selecting the field of candidates to interview for the openings on the school board. And there was a flurry of discussion up here at about 1 minute till 5 before our meeting started. And it seems that there was confusion regarding the process and how the candidates were to be nominated and which candidates to select and so on in this process for establishing the field of folks to interview. And because of that confusion, I think that it's best that we will, in a couple of minutes, we'll go across the line and ask that each council member indicate six candidates that they would like to see interviewed and see where that gets us. There were, it's the only way that I can think of to help get clarity now that there was some confusion. Now, what I'd like to do, Mayor, is go to the next, so that members of the council can take a minute to look through the candidates and refresh their memories as to what their preferences might be. Can we do the next item, a couple items on the agenda, and we'll circle back to that. So, council, you have 3 or 4 minutes probably to sort through those names. Moving down the line, the African American Heritage Commission would be the next agenda item to consider interviews or appointment. We have 2 openings on that. There were several applicants. The commission itself recommended the appointment of Dwayne Barton and Viola Spells to fill those 2 spots. The Boards and Commissions Committee reviewed the candidates and the recommendation of the commission, and the committee, recommend the appointment tonight of Dwayne Barton and Viola Spells. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay, so we're a motion and a second to appoint Dwayne Barton and Viola Spells to the African American Heritage Commission. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Hub Community Economic Development Alliance, there are two openings on that board for our appointment. There are only two applicants that came to us in short order, and the committee recommends extending the application period and re-advertising for those, for appointments to those two spots. Is that acceptable to council to extend the period?
Yes.
Chris, Cecil,
Yeah.
Gwen?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to extend that period. Public Art and Cultural Commission, one opening on that board. The commission itself and the committee recommend the appointment of Jay Miller tonight. Is there a motion for the appointment of Jay Miller?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion there? All in favor of appointing Jay Miller, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, back to the work at hand. Before we move to the selection of candidates to interview, let me offer a little update on the process. When we discussed this last, which was either 2 or 4 weeks ago, there was the question of background checks, whether city council should gather background checks on potential appointees to the school board, and whether those should factor into our appointments. And it was clear to members of council, I think all of us got strong community input, that would be a responsible, dutiful thing to do, and I don't think any of us disagree with that. The question was, how do we go about that? The school system has a background checking mechanism, as does the city, and there were legal questions about who would be the responsible party to do the background checking. There are also questions about confidentiality. So there was legal research done and comparing of notes between school board legal staff and our legal staff. And here's what we learned and came to. There will be, I'm going to recommend to council tonight here, and I just would hope to get nods to this approach, that yes, there will be background checks. They will be confidential. One of the points of research we had to do legally was whether these background checks, if considered by council for the purpose of appointments, would be protected and confidential, and we've learned legally, yes, they would. So what I'm going to recommend, and the Boards and Commission Committee recommends, is that the HR Human Resources staff here at the City of Asheville would get permission from candidates to do background check, criminal record checks for the purpose of this appointment. Those will be reviewed at the staff level and with the consultation of the city attorney. And if there are any red flags that emerge from those background checks, council will be advised confidentially so that that information can factor into any decision making that we do in terms of final voting. So I think while it took us a couple of weeks to sort through exactly what the mechanism would be, I feel like we've come to a good functional way to do this. And the city attorney and staff feel comfortable with it. And are there any questions on this? Does council all feel okay going forward in this way? Okay, great. So if you happen to be a candidate and are going to go to the next stage of this, Maggie Burleson, the city clerk, would be in touch tomorrow with consent forms for the background check, and we would want to get those turned around very quickly so that when we're making the final appointments 2 weeks from now, we have the benefit of that. Now, council, our task here is to sort through this field of 13 candidates and identify 5 or 6, I'm going to recommend 6, as a number to interview. And if we can start on this end with Councilman Smith, and we'll just move across. And each council member slowly, so that Maggie can take it in, identify the 6 candidates that you would prefer to interview. We'll go through all the council members. We'll see what the vote totals are, and we'll take it from there. So,
You locked and loaded over there, Maggie?
I'm sorry?
You ready?
I'm ready when you
All
are.
right, here we go. Dykes, Fisher, Geithner, Rawls, Sanford, Wilson.
Are we doing 6 or the
Six.
top 5? We're doing 6?
Yeah, we're.
Okay, my bad. Okay, I'm ready. Oh, can I just have a second to mark them on my, okay, I'm with you.
Yeah, just slow us down if you need to.
I'm
Maggie.
good.
Okay. Ready? Yes, sir.
Best, Dykes, Geithner, Lee,
I'm sorry, what was that one?
Lee,
Okay,
Sanford, and Wilson.
okay.
And Maggie, mine would be Sanford, Geithner.
I'm sorry, let me,
Going too fast.
okay.
Sanford,
Geithner,
Geithner,
okay,
Dykes, Walker Wilson,
hold on, okay. Oh,
Lee,
hold on. Walker Wilson, Lee, okay,
Woods.
okay, got it.
Okay, Dykes, Geithner, Lee,
Hold on. Okay,
Walker Wilson,
okay,
Woods, Sanford.
okay,
Best, Dykes,
okay, hold on.
Fisher, Jones, Lee.
Okay, just a second.
Okay.
Lee, okay,
Walker Wilson.
okay,
Okay, Best, Keeling,
okay, hold on just a second for me. Okay,
Lee,
okay,
Walker Wilson, Dykes,
just a second.
and Sanford.
Okay,
I'm going to do this alphabetically, Maggie.
okay, please, thank you.
Best, Dykes, Jones, Lee, Sanford, and Walker Wilson.
Okay, I have 4 for Miss Best, 7 for Mr. Dykes, 2 for Miss Fisher, 4 for Miss Geithner,
Little slur.
Fisher,
Best, Dykes, Geithner, Lee,
2,
Sanford.
1, 6, 6, 7, 2. Okay, we have,
Maggie, we're interviewing 6, I believe.
okay, so, yeah, interviewing 6. So, Mr. Dykes, who has received unanimous. Mr. Walker Wilson, he has also received unanimous. Mr. Lee has received 6. Ms. Sanford has received 6.
Geithner and Best.
Best and Geithner, that's correct. They each received 4.
Okay. We've done it. So those candidates that received 4, a majority of council are going through, and there's 6 of them, and Maggie just reviewed those. You want to walk through them one more time, Maggie? So the
Miss, it'll be, council will interview on March 24, Joanna Best, Steve Dykes, Martha Geithner, James Lee, Shonda Sandford, and Greg Walker Wilson. And that's 6.
Great.
And interviews look like they'll be at about 2:10 on the 24th, but I'll email council just as soon as I get that firmed up.
Sounds great. And apologies for the confusion on this one, council, but that concludes our boards and commissions business.
Can I?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, oh, did you have something? Dave?
Go ahead.
I just wanted to speak briefly about the interviews and I know that all of us have really taken our time to figure out and look at what our school system's needs are, and I just wanted to kind of lay out some of the things that I've been thinking about. So if candidates are watching, or just as a group here, everyone can kind of know kind of where I am tonight, and I'll look forward to conversations over the next couple of weeks leading up to interviews. But I'm going to be really looking for candidates who can be collaborative, can be effective leaders, who can lead that bureaucracy and support the superintendent, who can be change makers and innovators. Some of the specific things that I'll be interested in hearing from candidates is around justice for the Randolph school kids and what they believe that might be, why we haven't gotten further on healthy food in our schools and how we can. And then just kind of where they feel there's room to be proactive. So these are some of the things that I'll be interested in hearing more about.
I just wanted to say that I've never been through this process, but I was really impressed by the number of the candidates and the real passion that I saw in the applications. And so the folks who didn't, who won't be interviewed, please stay involved with the schools, keep your passion up, and thank you for all the effort.
Well, Gwen, I would second that. The quality of this field of candidates and the level of interest from the candidates, and also the level of interest from the community in general in encouraging candidates to apply, is the best it's been since I've been paying attention. And that's been a few years because I had kids go through the system and all. And so I'm very gratified by that. And there really were not any weak candidates in this field. It was a tough decision to make. Anything else, Councilor?
I think that there's some folks who are here. I don't know. I see Liam out here. Are there folks here to talk about school board stuff?
Well, we're going to have a public comment period
Okay,
now,
I'm
and
sorry,
so there's
I'm
an
getting ahead of
opportunity to do that.
Getting ahead of things.
Great.
Are we done on boards and commissions? Okay.
I think we are.
We'll have a closed session, but first we'll do public comment, and then we'll have our motion up for a closed session. So I don't have anyone who's signed up yet, but if you'd like to speak during the public comment period, please raise your hand and I'll ask you to speak, and you have 3 minutes, and we'd like you to begin by just stating your name. Okay. Come on up.
Hello, my name is Brian Good, and I sit on the Asheville City School Nutrition Committee, and I want to second what Mr. Smith said about childhood nutrition in our city schools. And I'm asking, not only as a parent, but as a committee member for the entire city council, to definitely ask questions to the new school board members about how they feel about changing the child nutrition in our city schools. And there are many studies and many facts, I'm not going to go into them now, but that suggests that nutrition does help with childhood academics and achievement, and I think we all want that for the students at the city school. So please definitely ask those questions when you're interviewing these clients, or these school board members. Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else? Yes?
Hey, how you doing? My name is Chef Liam. I run the Go Kitchen Ready program over at the Reed Center and now the Eddington Center. Just want to back up what Chef Brian Good just said, that we are looking for candidates that want to say yes, basically. We're looking for people who are willing to make change. Obviously, healthy food in the schools is a win-win for everyone. So we have the backing of many parents city-wide and students themselves that want access to good food. We really hope this is a priority for people and that they bring that forward to the City Council. The Eddington Center is an amazing opportunity also to produce that food locally. We have the facilities to do it. So in the next couple weeks, when you hear people speaking, I really want to focus on folks that feel like they can get something done and can say yes. I think our school system has struggled with that in the past, and we all know that working together we can get a lot done. So thank you so much.
Anyone else? Okay. All right, I think we're ready for our motion.
I move that the Asheville City Council go into closed session for the following reasons. One, to prevent disclosure of information that is privileged and confidential pursuant to the laws of North Carolina or not considered a public record within the meaning of Chapter 132 of the General Statutes. The law that makes the information privileged and confidential is NC General Statute 143-318.103. The statutory authorization is contained in NC General Statute 143-318.11A1. And two, to consult with an attorney employed by the city about matters with respect to which the attorney-client privilege between the city and its attorney must be preserved. The statutory authorization is contained in NC General Statute 143-318.11A3.
Second.
Okay, and we have a motion and a second. We will be adjourning from the closed session. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so was that the fastest? Did we beat the record? Well, no, it wasn't the fastest.
That's snow day one, we got it.
Yeah, it was like 18 minutes.
Yeah, this one lasted a little longer.
Aye.